Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play Remember11, The Age of Infinity. And last time, Satoru found himself in quite a bit of a situation, a bad one. And Kokoro is in a bad situation as well, by default. Everybody's in a bad situation anyway. But, anyway, Satoru is at the shelter cabin right now. And he's thinking about the article. And to be honest, if Satoru was thinking about whether or not he'd believe it, I would say I don't think he would believe it. I mean, Satoru seems like a very logical thinking guy. And so I don't think he would think that. I mean, time travel is rather illogical. Yeah, I would say that would probably be a thing. You know, to be honest, I'm not really sure if I'm a logical person. I'm probably not a very logical person. I would think it'd be very logical. If you're very logical, it's logical to know you're logical, right? Perhaps not. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think he'd believe it. He would need concrete proof of it. So probably wouldn't believe the article. There's no explanation for how a newspaper from the future could possibly exist. Probably call it ridiculous and then toss it aside without a second thought. But I can't assume that the others feel the same. If you ask me why, it's because the words "three bodies" are those of the survivors of the crash are written there. And those three names correspond to those of the people in the shelter cabin. Well, he's already accepted time travel. Yeah, that is true now that I think about it. But like of the paper. On top of that, even Uni's name appeared there, which meant that at the very least, they were correct in saying that these four specific people survived the plane crash. And therefore, there were only two possible explanations. Either the newspaper was from the future, or was from the past, but written by someone with the abnormal ability of foresight. But no matter which was true, it didn't change the fact that the first half of the article was dead on. In that case, it was only human nature to believe the rest of the article would come true as well. It looks like I'm going to die on January 17th. Is that what they thought? Yomugi, Lin, and Kokoro? On the surface, they're doing their best to appear calm, but in their hearts, they're all beset by an excruciating uneasiness. That's what I thought. On top of that, they were stuck inside the shelter cabin, trapped by a snowstorm. They had nowhere to run. Despair. In a way, I had nowhere to run either. After all, I might find out that I died when the time of the next transfer came. I understood their feelings so well it hurt. Especially Lynn's. Suddenly feeling worried, I turned to face her. Lynn was crouched down in the corner of the bed, staring at the floor. That fiery spirit she'd shown until now had vanished completely. My feet unconsciously steered me in her direction. I slowly drew near, then took a seat on the bed next to Lynn. She spoke softly without even raising her head. Oh, great. This one I'm really not sure about. Mayuzumi is very unpredictable. So I don't know if it would be a good thing or bad thing if I continue to try to talk to her. I spoke quietly, trying not to irritate her. It would be kind of awkward to just sit there and be like, yeah, I've got something I gotta tell you. you know. So yeah, that was a logical thing to do, is to actually continue talking. So, oops, Lynn raised her head.
多分ここにいる4人の中で一番怯えているのはリンだろう。強がって見せてはいるが、それは本当のリンの姿なんかじゃない。本当のお前は誰よりも臆病で繊細で脆くて傷つきやすい。だからこそ弱い自分を守るために。
どうしてそんなこと言うの？私のこと何でも知ってるみたいな言い方しないでくれる？
だってしょうがないじゃないか。何でも知ってるんだから。
Lynn bit her lip and narrowed her eyes. She looked at me dubiously.
大丈夫だよ、リン。怖がらなくても大丈夫だ。俺がついてるから。俺がお前のことを守ってやるから。
I said that to her with the intent of comforting her. I was trying to convey my innermost feelings to her. That was not the proper thing I should have done. I have a feeling this is going to be bad. However, all of a sudden Lynn stood up. She'd heard enough. Looking down at me, she spat out those words as though she were sick of it all.
私をからかって混乱させて、そんなことして何が楽しいって言うのよ。何度も言ったと思うけど繰り返すわ。もう二度と私の前でサトルのふりなんてしないでいい。分かったわね。
Having shouted all that at me, she whirled away and stomped off in the other direction. I do really want to see an ending where the actual Satoru and her, talk, and he's like, that was really me all those times. It wasn't just Kokoro being crazy. I mean, she is a little crazy. Oh, sorry, Kokoro. I see you standing there. But, it wasn't just her being crazy. I was actually there, because it'd be very amusing to see Maezumi's reaction. She walked over to the corner of the room. She disappeared through the hole leading to the underground storeroom, as if trying to avoid me. I think she is trying to avoid you. I could do nothing to stop her. No matter what I said to her right now, it would probably be useless, I thought. I could tell that she wasn't exactly of sound mind at the moment. Times like these, there's nothing I can do but leave her alone. It's probably the best I did to have left her alone to begin with. Yeah. I really did that just to make it more interesting, I think. Emogi and Uni appeared as though changing places with Lynn. Coincidence? The two of them climbed up the ladder one after the other. They say while looking at my complexion. Feigning complacency, I got up from the bed. Oh. The music ended. I was expecting a zip-zap and back at Sophia. Newspaper was lying in a corner of the room. I went over and picked it up. Sat on a log chair near the table. I spread out the patched-up newspaper and scanned the article. I've only read part of this newspaper. There could be other important information hidden somewhere in the rest of the articles. I was worried about Lynn, of course, but I couldn't concentrate all my efforts on her. The transfers. The transfer started everything. There could be a clue in this newspaper, in this paper somewhere that might shed light on them. Excuse me. Resolved to proceed to read the articles. And then...
Nani? 財宝だと? どれどれ?
Well, the transfer is very close to happening. Heard Uni Emogi's voice behind the paper.
これは素晴らしい。素晴らしい色合いの財宝だ。しかし、青と白のストライプとは予想外だもんな。ほら、ユニ隊員、触っちゃいかん。罠が仕掛けられているかもしれん。
Wrong region.
罠ですか？
ああ、そうだ。パクッとな、パクッとされる恐れがなきにしもあらず。
でも隊長、こんなチャンスには二度とお目にかからないかもしれませんよ。たとえ罠だとしても自分が犠牲に。
バカ者、何を言うか。
Okay, one thing I'm noticing is the transfer is not happening exactly when it was. Does that mean a bad ending? Bad ending with a panty joke. Guess it's not that bad. Because they were saying that stuff. Some of that when the transfer happened, didn't
大
they?
事な隊員を危険な目に遭わせるわけにはいかんのだ。
I think so
ここは
anyway.
隊長である私が全責任を負って。
いえ、隊長の死は部隊の死であります。自分には女房子供はおりませんので、悲しむ者は誰も。
うるさい、そんなことを言いよって。
As no wife and children, a good way to remain that way is a bunch of sexual harassment suits. So he probably needs to avoid it.
貴様、さては財宝を独り占めするつもりだな。
何をおっしゃるんですか、隊長。自分はそんなつもりなど。
お前らさっきからな。
Their faces are pretty funny.
もしかして有機道君か
Oh, they didn't know that? Oh. Okay. You know, maybe this is actually... Ah. Okay. Seems they finally noticed. It's too much of a pain to answer, so I got straight down to business.
そんなとこでしゃがみ込んで何してんだよ。
何って。
Uni and Yomogi stared at each other. They returned their gaze to me. What their eyes returned to was a place where my... No, is a place where Kokoro's thighs converged. Instantly understood what they were doing and what the conversation had been about.
はあ、は
I could only
あ、お
sigh.
前ら気楽でいいよな。お前らのことを見てるとこっちまでそのペースに飲まれちまいそうだ。
Even though I might die as soon as the next transfer happens, and if it did manage to survive that, faced with a mountain of urgent problems that were sure to kill me
確か
afterward,
にあっちに比べればこっちの世界は安らげるけどな。あっちは始終神経を研ぎ澄ませてなきゃいけない。誰が信用できるかもわからない。その点こっちは気楽でいいよ。
took off the wristwatch as I complained. As had become a habit, I put it in my
あっちと
pocket.
かこっちとか何のことを言ってるんだ。
いや、なんでもない。続けてくれ。
Saying that, I held up the newspaper once again.
続けてくれって言われても。
うん。サトルだって一応女の子なんだから膝閉じた方がいいんじゃないの？
別に構わないだろ。見られたって減るもんじゃないし。
Okay, you know, I got to thinking. They did say something about Satoru was more okay about it. He was willing to share or something, didn't they?
それにな。
So
どうせ
maybe-
閉じたって気を抜いたらすぐ元に戻っちまうよ。
So maybe I haven't lost yet.
こればっかりは癖なんだからどうしようもないんだ。
でも
心に何か聞かれたら何度も注意したってそう言っといてくれ。
Saying that from behind the newspaper, I heard Uni and Yomogi begin to confer in frantic whispers. I don't really know what they are talking about, but well, whatever. I forget about them and focus on the newspaper instead. There was an article about Flight 18 on the local news page, but there wasn't any information about it. It's the same no matter how many times I read it. It's not like the text of the article will change. It's not like Back to the Future where newspapers change based on what happens. After the snow thaw, the decomposed corpses of 3 men and women were found on the mountain. Their names were Yomogi Seiji, Fuikawa Kokoro, and Mayazumi Lin. They had lost their lives at 6:53 a.m. on January 17th after getting caught up in an avalanche. Conversely, you could say that they were able to survive until that time. And Uni's name was written there in the paper as well. The sole survivor, Kusuda Uni-kun, even now half a year later after the accident, Uni-kun's mental state has yet to stabilize, and he is steadfast in his refusal to speak. The Aomori Prefectural Police are still waiting on Uni's condition to improve in order to obtain more detailed information about the events that occurred.
そうだ
I'd forgotten something important about Uni. Uni in the shelter cabin right now wasn't the Uni of 2011. Even if he was in body, the consciousness dwelling inside that body belonged to the Uni of 2012. If not, then how could the words of the Uni at Sphia be explained? The Uni at Sphia had said he didn't know anything about Mount Akira. He was definitely involved in a plane crash, but when he came to afterward, he was suddenly at Sphia. That's what he said. This Uni and that Uni had, if only once, changed places with each other, like me and Kokoro. I'll go ask the Uni here about it, and... Okay. That's when the transfer happened. Make sure of it. Well, it looks like the running thing didn't kill me yet, Sphia. Just gonna have to figure out if Mayuzumi's gonna murder Kokoro at one point. Right as I thought that, the scenery shifted. A hot pain in my left arm. I reflexively jumped back and stood, ready, the silhouette clutching a knife. Might still be nearby, but there was no one there. I restlessly looked around, bobbing my head like a chicken, but there was no trace of anyone else in the room. This is my room at Sphia. Just to be safe, I checked the closet, under the bed, and even in the bathroom. Not so much of a shadow to be found. Patted down my body, but found no other wound except for the one in my left arm. Muttered as I wiped the sweat from my brow.
逃げ延びてくれたみたいだな
A feeling of relief blanketed me. Was it only tension that kept me standing? Fatigue suddenly surged through me. Sat down on the floor, drained of energy. Couldn't take so much as a single step. My body was as heavy as stone. I was somehow able to move my right arm far enough to take out my wristwatch. Present time, 8:08 p.m. Since it had taken me time to make sure the room was safe, I estimated the transfer had taken place at 8:06 p.m. Put my wristwatch back in my pocket, and then I let my head hang. I gently rubbed my throbbing left arm with the palm of my right. It felt odd to the touch. Something appears to be wrapped around my arm. I felt a strong pressure on the wound too. Stood back up, my wristy joints creaking and groaning as I did. Walked over to the door and locked it just in case. Then returned to the center of the room. Took off my clothes, looked at my left arm.
どいた
White bandages were wrapped around it. Part of the cloth was discolored by a thick line of red blood that still oozed from beneath its surface. Tracing the line with a fingertip, I felt it numb and tingling. Did Kokoro dress it herself? I doubted she could bandage it so neatly using just her right arm. Is it even her dominant arm after all? Yeah, I was actually thinking that. So then one of the other three. As I pondered the question, I decided to put my clothes back on. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I passed my arm through the sleeve.
さてと
Can you just like roll it up as an arm sleeve or something? Seems like a much easier way to be like, oh, bandages. Unless he just wants for random reasons to take his shirt off. I think there's bandages underneath this sleeve. I'm going to take my shirt off and, yep, there's bandages. Of course, I was going to say you could just wear a short sleeve. I don't even wear short sleeve when it's winter though, so I'm weird. I don't like sleeves. At least I don't like long sleeves, I should say. I'm not one of the person who wears what are they? I don't know what they're called. I know fashion, not really. What are the things called? Where there's no sleep out. I can't think. And before I'd had time to catch my breath, emotions began to swell within me. An exalting feeling bubbled up from within me. Those were the emotions I felt toward Kokoro. Even if I thanked her 1,000 times, or 10,000, or 1,000,000, it wouldn't come close to expressing the depth of my gratitude to her. So that's when you use mountains. Because Kokoro was the one who let me escape from the demonic hands of the killer. There was nothing I could do. Even though it was my body, there was nothing I could do to help. Kokoro had saved my life. A deep emotion that couldn't be expressed with mere words expanded within me, till it felt like it burst forth from my heart. When I hug her and hug her and hug her, muss her hair and shout in her ears. Okay. I'm pretty sure she would prefer you not to. Thank you, Kokoro. I'm so thankful I could sing. And I bet you wish you had your hearing back so that you could hear. That was an unfillable wish. Well, at the very least, I could write it all down, I thought. I sat at the desk at once and picked up the pen. When I turned my eyes toward the memo pad, I noticed it. Letters I don't remember writing had been scribbled there. Nice to meet you, Yukito-san. Felt dizzy just reading the first line. The letter showed pretty low handwriting skills, like the scribbles of a foreigner trying to learn Japanese by imitating us. He's so critical! But then I remembered. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. I see, so she can't help but write like this. It's inexcusable to complain about the poor handwriting and whatnot of someone who just saved your life. Instead, the shoddiness of the letter she'd written beautifully conveyed how heroic Kokoro was. With the utmost effort, trying her hardest, she wrote this. In order to give her earnest gesture the attention it deserved, I sat up ramrod straight and went on reading her message. Nice to meet you, Yukito-san. Wonder what I should write. There are so many things I want to write, but I can't seem to bring it all together very well. You can probably tell just by looking, but my handwriting is like this too. This might be difficult to read, so please forgive me. First off, I'll report all the important things to you. I read all the messages that you left me on this notepad. I was only able to listen to half your message on the voice recorder left at the shelter cabin, but I was at least able to listen up to, it seems someone's after me. About your left arm, the one who cut your left arm, that someone was the one who did it. That person tried to take away your life. In other words, that's how it is, right? But just who is that someone? Please explain in a little more detail. What's happening with Satoru's body? Why is it that you believe someone is after you? Or then did you say that on the shelter cabin's voice recorder too? I was only able to hear part of it, so I don't know. If by chance you didn't record it there, please reply here. But about the culprit. The truth is, it's not as if I don't have any ideas. There's no reason to beat around the bush, so I'll just go ahead and write it. Suzukage Hattori-chan. You're aware she has DID, right? Recently she's been fixed in her Hattori personality, though. However, I don't think it'd be unusual for her hidden personality to awaken at any time. By her hidden personality, I mean the other personality within her. The personality that killed 12 people in Awazumi Hospital. It may be possible that the personality is targeting you, Satoru. I say that, but it's not as if I have any decisive evidence. It might not be appropriate to write things like this, even though I don't have any real evidence. Even so, I don't think it'd be going overboard to just give it a warning. Be careful just in case. Next, about uni. It's extremely complicated, so I can't say it very well. What should I do? That's right. I think I actually really wrote all this stuff down. If she was writing a death message, she would totally do like in that Monty Python movie. Crap. What is the joke there? Oh man, I can't remember it. Dang. But there, it's some sort of the evil beast of And they're like, maybe it's and surprise or alarm. And then one of them says, maybe he said it, maybe he wrote it while he was dying. And they were like, no, he would just say that out loud. He wouldn't write it. Crap, now I want to go back and watch that scene because I can't remember how that... Can't remember the details of that scene. Okay, first there's something I need to ask you. Have you ever met a young boy by the name of Kusuru Uni? You know, right now I'm thinking this, that maybe Uni is teleporting. Teleporting as in both his body and consciousness are transferring together. And the timing of his teleportation is at the exact same as when Satoru and I transfer. You get what I'm trying to say? In other words, at the same time that I transfer back to Mount Akakura, Uni's mind and body jump back to Mount Akakura as well. Because if that isn't so, I can't explain how Uni could exist as two people at the same time. That's why, by my prediction, Satoru shouldn't have met Uni even once. That's what I thought. Which is it really? Have you met Uni or haven't you? Please tell me. And seriously, why would you even write that? That's just kind of a filler word, you know. I mean, it's cool that she's, you know, that the point is that she's a little nervous and can't get her words straight, but you know. But yeah, he wouldn't really write it down. I have two more things I want to tell you to tell me. First is about Sophia. Satoru should know more than I do about this facility, right? That's why I want you to tell me everything about Sophia, like how to get outside and how to communicate with the outside world. Second is about the shelter cabin. In time that I'm away from the cabin, please tell me if anything important happens. I'm sorry. Feels like all I'm writing is please tell me, and things like that, huh? As an apology, here's the report. First, about the earthquake. An earthquake occurred at Sophia. Because of that, the breaker was tripped and a blackout occurred. It's fixed now, though. In times of transfer, I checked properly, just like you told me, so here they are below. 1:07 p.m. transferred to Sophia. 1:40 returned to shelter cabin. 6:03 transferred to Sophia. 6:36 returned to shelter cabin. 7:33 transferred to Sophia. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Transfer has occurred 5 times, 2.5 round trips. And at present, I'm still here. It looks like the times are all over the place, but do you think there's a pattern? Well then, one last thing. I'll do as much as I can while I'm in this world, so sorry to please take care of my body. Things are pretty bad here, but it's a serious situation there too. Might be kind of a weird thing to say this, but please try not to die. No matter what happens, I'll protect your body until the very end. So you too, Satoru, please protect my body. Live, survive. The two of us together will escape from this weird phenomenon. And then, can't think of anything else. Anyway, I'm waiting for the day I can meet you. For sure, somewhere will. So then, this is where Kokoron will end her message. Kindly forgive the roughness of my writing. Later then. My gosh. If you do anything weird to my body, I'll never forgive you. Don't touch it too much, okay? Rather, don't touch it at all. I want you to wear gloves at all times that you are occupying my body. You know, she didn't say she can't that he can't show people, so I mean, technically, I guess he kept his word. PPS. Come think of it, I forgot to write something important about the newspaper. You saw it too, right, Satoru? Newspaper that was in the shelter cabin. I guess she transferred miscellaneous. Man, that was a lot of communication there. Anyway, go ahead and call it here, and we'll see what all he gets up to here at Sophia. See if we can find out about stuff. I guess you could say stuff. But anyway, do sincerely hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Farewell there.